Okay, these are our solutions for the free response on our practice test. So we're on free response 1. They give us a stem plot of the current LA Lakers roster, the NBA roster, and this is really truly the current players and their weights. Use your calculator to find the standard deviation. So remember to do this. You go to your list. You would enter in. So remember, if you want to clear out a list like I need to, you're going to go up to the list name and you're going to hit clear, not delete. Then you're going to enter in the data using the key below. So 18 bar 0 is going to be 180, 181, 185, 186, so on until you have, I think it's all 18 players. I'll try to go really quick. I'm going so fast, I'm bound to make mistakes. Okay, I have 18 players. Now once you have them entered, you're going to go to Stat. You're going to arrow over to Calc. You're going to choose option 1. Enter. Well, if you need to change your list, hit blue and the number of lists that you need. I need list 1, so I need to do blue and hit 1. Enter, enter, enter. Oh, I think I didn't make a mistake. So we're going to pull the mean. The mean weight is 222, and the standard deviation is this SX, which is 2888. So I have the standard deviation here with the correct notation, and I went to 2 places. They want us to now interpret it, and the interpreting is where you need X bar. So the interpretation that I wrote is the weight of a Lakers player. I don't need an S on that. The weight of a Lakers player typically varies by about 28.88 pounds from the mean of 222.78 pounds. So one thing to note on this is that I do have units, meaning pounds and pounds, and I did use the key phrase typically varies. Everything else follows my flashcard for interpreting standard deviation. The weight of a Lakers player typically varies by my standard deviation with units from the mean weight. Okay, next up, calculate the z-score for each student and then determine who scored higher. So I have Vicky scored higher within her grade because her z-score is greater than Eileen's. That's enough. That's enough of an explanation to earn you full credit. Vicky's score is further away from the mean than Eileen's score. Or you would need to specify Vicky's score is further away from the mean for her grade than Vicky's is from the mean for her grade, which sounds really complicated. So I think that this is one of the easiest ways to say it. Vicky scored higher within her grade because her z-score is greater than Eileen's. When you go through and you get a problem like this, just make sure that you're being very careful to keep your information straight, that you're keeping Vicky's information with the mean and standard deviation and Eileen's, because that's one of the things that can trip you up on these, because they give you so much information at once. So just be careful on that. Solve for Lisa's actual test score. I got 675. I would challenge you to interpret her z-score. So I would pause and challenge you to interpret Lisa's z-score. Really pause and like write it out here. I'm going to pause too. Okay, so I have Lisa's SAT score is 1.75 standard deviations above the mean SAT score. You do need to interpret standard, just kidding, you do need to interpret z-score on your exam. Oh, I forgot to put up my free response too. Sorry about that. And, oh, we missed a lot. Wait, did I even go over one? Family. What a disaster. Let me grab one. I'm not even sure where it's at. If you're still there, good job. Is my numbering just wrong? Pause, I'll figure it out. Okay, I apologize, I found it. So, the first one wants you to figure out Kathy's finishing time if she had a z-score the same as her brother's. The first thing that you need to do is find Clay's z-score. So using his finishing time and the mean for the males, I got a z-score for him of -145. Now you use this z-score to solve for Kathy's finishing time. So you use Clay's z-score and then the mean and standard deviation for the females. Once you solve that out, you get that Kathy's finishing time is about 213 minutes. What a disaster my ordering is. So this is number 1. Number 2 is the LA Lakers one that I just went through. 3 is Eileen and Vicky. 4 is Lisa's SAT score, and I added in having you interpret z-score. So now for the last 2, maybe I can get it right. So this is for free response 5. They give you a dot plot. They want you to calculate Mr. Wythy's temperature if he's at the 20th percentile. So 20% of the healthy individuals had a temperature less than or equal to Wythy's or Withy's. So that means that 20% of the 130 healthy individuals were less than or equal to Withy's. So that's 26 individuals. Then what I did was I came up to the dot plot starting on the left-hand side and I counted until I got to the 26th observation. And that observation is on a temperature of 36.5. So the percentile tells me 20% of the healthy individuals had a temperature less than or equal to Withy's. 20% of 130 is 26. So I went up to the dot plot and counted to the 26th person. And that ended up being on 36.5. Okay, free response 6. This one is similar. It just wants you to, well, similar in that it's a percentile. This one says calculate and interpret the percentile for a monthly rent of $950 in location A. Notice my notation. You do need to use this on your exam. You need to write out that full statement. So your X is 950. You're finding the P, capital P for percent, of observations less than or equal to 950. That's 12 of the 24, or 50%. A monthly rent of $950 in location A is at the 50th percentile. About 50% of the monthly rents in location A are less than or equal to $950. It is similar for location B and the monthly rent of $1,290. The interpretation is the same except for changing out location A and the monthly rent. So I apologize for my responses being completely and totally out of order. Your free response questions that you get on the exam are very similar to this. I told 1A, so hopefully my B-Day kids are watching this. On every exam that you get, you're always going to have one question that you haven't seen before. So you will have one question, it's the last question on your exam, that you have to use your knowledge of z-scores to answer a question. It's similar to the last problem on your exam where it gives you data about miles per gallon and wants you to give a recommendation for the additive you should use. So just keep in mind that everything up until that last question should be very straightforward and easy, quote unquote, for you. And then that last question is going to push you a little bit, but I think that you can do it. So that being said, everything but the last one follows this free response section. So as you can see, there's not a ton of writing that you need to do. You solve something out by hand. You find and interpret a standard deviation. You compare z-scores. You interpret a z-score. And you interpret and find percentiles. I don't think that I did a very stellar job at going through these free response. So if you have any questions, make sure that you mark them, keep track of them somewhere, and then ask them right before your exam. If you think you're going to need a little bit more time than that, then just email me. I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. It may take longer than you'd like, but I will try to keep an eye on my emails. So just in case any of you have questions, I can try to get back to you before your exam. If not, just ask in class right before we take the exam. Okay, love you guys. Good luck studying. If you put in the time, I know you'll be rewarded. So put in the time. You guys got this. Love you.